have you had any challenges with your gel polishes or your gel top coats? If so, today's video is for you. What if your gel polish is peeling off the nail? This is one of the big challenges that we have, and usually the reason for this is one of two things. For gel polish or gel top coat, you need either a tacky surface or a textured surface. Now what I mean by that is when you're doing your enhancements, you're going to go through, you're going to do all of your filings, you're going to finish file with a 150 grit file, okay? What I don't recommend is going into a buffer of really any kind, okay? If you go in with a buffer, what this is going to do is this is going to smooth out that surface, and it's going to leave too smooth of a surface for your gel to adhere to. Okay, like I said, your gel needs either a textured surface or a tacky surface to adhere to. You want to leave that nail with a textured surface. So that's why I'm going to recommend just finish filing with the 150 grit file. Okay, so again, leaving that textured surface is what's really going to help adhere that top coat or that gel polish that you're putting on top. Now, the other thing that I've been seeing a lot lately is people are using cuticle oil when they're doing their finishing. They're putting cuticle oil on that nail and then they're going through and they're filing or they're buffing. You guys do not be putting any oils or anything onto that nail before you do your gel polish. Because again, what that's going to do is that's actually going to leave a layer that is not going to allow your gel polish to adhere. This is our nail. If we put that cuticle oil on top, we've got that extra layer of oil, and our gel polish isn't going to be able to adhere to that oily surface. Even if you have your clients wash their hands, even if you take your swipe and you cleanse that off, there still can be a slight residue of that oil on that nail. So again, make sure that you're leaving a textured surface or a tacky surface. Okay? Let's talk about that tacky surface. What do I mean by a tacky surface? Well, we've got on this nail, we've filed this nail through, we're going to put our gel polish on. Okay? Now, Manicu is one of our gel polish lines. Manicu is an excellent gel polish. So when we're applying our Manicu top coat or our Manicu color, I do add a coat of protein bond. This is going to give, we already have that tacky surface or that textured surface underneath, but protein bond is going to give us that tacky surface for our gel polish to adhere to. Now I'm going to go ahead and polish out 2 coats of our gel polish here. On my first coat, I'm going to go ahead into the light. We're going to cure this out, and then once this is cured, I'll come back and we'll continue with our color here. So our first coat is cured out. Now you guys, with the Manicu color, this does have that tacky surface to it. So if you look at this nail, it looks like it's dry, but I'm not going to do this. But if you were to touch the nail, it is going to have a tacky surface to it. When the gel cures out, there is a slight residue of uncured gel on the top. Now, the nail is cured all the way through, I promise you, but that tacky surface is what we need to have on the nail for our next coat to adhere to. You want to make sure that you're not using any swipe or Manicu cleanse or anything. You don't want to cleanse off that tacky surface because, again, you need that tacky surface for your next coat to adhere to. So this is one of the things that I think a lot of people do in between, and this is why maybe their next coat of polish will peel off, because they go through and they wipe off that tacky surface. So make sure that you keep that tacky surface on there before you add your next coat of gel. After our second coat, we still want to make sure that we're leaving that tacky surface on our nail for us to adhere our top coat to. So we're going to go into our top coat for the final layer. Again, leaving that tacky finish on there to adhere to our top coat, and then we can fully cure the nail all the way through. Now I'm using our Ultimate Finish top coat. This is going to cure in the light for a full 60 seconds. When this one does come out of the light, this one does not have a tacky surface that you need to wipe off. When this one is cured out fully, it's going to be done. There's nothing to wipe off. It is a tack-free top coat. Okay, so again, you guys, after our nail is fully cured with our Ultimate Finish top coat, now there's no tacky surface that we need to wipe off. But again, in between those layers, there is a tacky surface. So make sure to avoid any chipping or peeling that you leave that tacky surface in between your layers and do not wipe that off. All right, so the next challenge that people tend to have is that they tell us that their product is not curing fully. Okay, now there could be several reasons that your product is not curing fully. The first one that we always want to check on is your light. How old is your light? Okay, you want to make sure that if you're working full-time in salon, that you're changing your lights out about once a year. Again, that's full-time. Now, if you're working part-time, your light is going to last you a little bit longer, maybe up to 2 years, okay? But kind of keep in mind that you do need to change out your lights. Usually what I like to do whenever I get a new light, now we haven't done this on this light here, so I'll use a Sharpie marker, a permanent marker, something where I can write the date on the back of my light. That way I know when this light has gone into use. And that way, maybe a year down the road, maybe a year and a half, maybe my top coat is not looking as shiny as it used to, I can always check the bottom of my light and see what date I started using that light. And if it's been over a year, that's usually a good indicator that it's time to replace the light. So again, if your top coats are not looking as shiny as they once were, or if you feel like your gel polish is not curing fully, if you feel like maybe that's chipping off and you've tested everything else, you're doing everything else right, that could be also a sign that your light is starting to wear out. So it's time to replace that light. Okay. So the second reason that your gel polish may not be fully curing is if you're positioning the hand properly in the light or not. Okay. And this is something for clients, you need to make sure that your client is actually putting their hand into the light properly. So when you're putting your hand, or when your client is putting your hand into the light, let's just assume that the light is here on top, but I just want to make sure that you guys can see exactly what's happening. Okay. When you put the hand into the light, the hand needs to go straight in, and it actually needs to come, the thumbnail needs to come past this little ledge on the back here. There's a kind of a little indicator there. So that's going to show you kind of where those lights are. If you have your fingers in front of this little ledge in here, then those nails are not going to be under those lights directly, okay? Now the other thing you want to make sure is, especially for clients, a lot of times clients come in and they want to sit and relax, and so they'll just kind of take their hand and they'll just kind of gently, kind of tuck it into the light like this. Now, do you guys see how my fingers are, they're bent, and then also my nails are at kind of a wonky little angle. They're angled off to the side and they're actually pointed downward. Okay. Also take a look at my thumb. Do you see how the thumb is just all the way on the side like that? That's not going to allow these lights to fully cure over the surface of these nails. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting that hand straight into the light, keeping those fingers flat on the base, and then also kind of checking that thumb. Make sure that it's not down on the side like this. Make sure that you're actually turning that thumb up so that it's flat. Okay. Sometimes I'll even tell my clients, put pressure on your fingertips, so that they're going to put pressure right on that space here. So that way it's going to be nice and flat on that base plate. Okay. Because again, if your client is coming in and they're just kind of setting their hands there like that, that light is not going to get a perfect cure all the way through on those sides that are angled down. Okay. The other thing you want to make sure is that the hand is actually going kind of like we were talking about, that little base, that little ledge in the back. Make sure that the hand is fully into the light. A lot of times clients will they'll kind of set that hand right into the light. Maybe that thumb will be right at that edge and it's not all the way into the light. Again, you guys, you want to make sure that that hand is all the way under that light. So even these little lights here on the sides, even those little lights on the sides, those can get a full cure on those thumbs. So your positioning into the light is extremely important on getting a full cure all the way through the whole entire surface of the nail. Okay, so make sure that either you or your client is getting the hand in there properly. So let's continue to talk about why maybe your gel polish might not be curing. Okay. Now you guys, we have two different gel polishes. We have our Go Time, which is our one step. This is a one step. It only needs the color. It doesn't need a separate base or top coat. But then we also have our 3-step, which is our Manicu color. This has the base coat, the color, and the top coat. Okay. Now, when you're working with the Manicu color, I'm going to assume that I have a base coat down onto my nail here. It's prepped. It's ready to go. I've got my base coat on there. When you're working with the Manicu color, this one, you can brush this on, and the color itself, the pigments itself are sheer enough so that when you put this into the light to cure this, you can put this in and you can freeze this layer for 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, this is going to cure it enough so where you can add your next coat on top of it. We'll go ahead and do a second coat of our Manicu color, but then I want to show you the difference between the Manicu color and the Go Time. Okay, so again, our Manicu color, and you can still see on that little practice tip that it's still a little on the sheer side. So that gel did cure all the way through for that 30 seconds. We're going to do a second coat. The second coat is going to give us full coverage of our color, but it is still sheer enough so that when we go in for our next cure, that bottom layer underneath is going to continue to cure fully. Okay, again, because the pigments in here are a little more sheer. Now you guys, I say sheer, I don't mean completely sheer. You can see now we have good full coverage of that, but the pigments are enough to let that light cure all the way through to that first layer. So this second layer is cured out. I could take my thumb, now again you guys, I'm not touching the surface of this with my skin because it does have that tacky surface to it and I don't want to get that on my skin. But I do want to show you that this product is cured. It's not moving, it's not dentable. You can see maybe on camera there, I kind of scuffed a little bit of that sticky residue, but the actual product is cured itself. Now, let's talk about our one step. So when we're working with the one step, the Go Time, this is a little bit of a richer color. There's a little bit more color pigment to it. So with this, you do want to make sure that you are applying in thinner layers. Okay, so just like we were doing the Manicu color, you want to use a little bit of pressure with your brush. You want to make sure that you are getting a thin, even coat and that you're not flooding that product onto the nail. Okay, so again, with that first coat, you'll still be able to see it's a little bit on the sheer side. That's exactly what you want. Usually what people tend to try to do with the one step is they'll use a lot of product because they want to try to do it just in one coat. But they flood that product onto the nail, and then the second error that they tend to do is that they don't fully cure it. Okay, now with our Manicu color, that we were able to put into the light for a 30-second freeze. Now with the Go Time, you want to make sure that goes into the light for a full 60 seconds for each layer. I'm going to show you what happens if you only cure it for 30 seconds and you've applied your product too thick. Okay, so this is what not to do. So you don't want to just cure this for 30 seconds. You want to cure it for a full 60 seconds with a nice thin, even application of that first coat. Again, that first coat, we cured it for 30 seconds. It should have been cured for 60. And then maybe we'll just decide we need to add a second coat because maybe we just needed a little bit more coverage. So again, we try to add that a little bit thicker. So again, you guys, this is what not to do, okay? So again, putting that extra thicker coat on there, and again, not fully curing it. So again, every layer is going to need to cure for a full 60 seconds and in nice, thin, even applications. So what we did on this nail is what not to do. With this should be fully cured. I shouldn't be able to put any scratches in there. There's actually a little kind of a bubble down here on the side. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little bubble. That little bubble is not cured. That's kind of soft and squishy. So there's uncured gel underneath that product, okay? So when you apply your Go Time too thick and you don't fully cure it, that's when you're gonna get these issues. And because this product is uncured, there's a little bit of that uncured gel under there, it can tend to peel off, okay? So make sure that you are applying your gel polishes properly. With both of them, you want to apply nice thin applications, nice thin layers. With the Manicu color, you can freeze each layer for 30 seconds. With the Go Time one step, you do want to make sure that you're fully curing each layer for a full 60 seconds. So one more issue that, and this is actually a really, really common question that we get, is why is my top coat cracking? Here's the thing, you guys. Stain resistant is an amazing top coat. It is awesome, especially if you're working on maybe hairstylists, you know, people that are working with hair color, anything that's going to stain the nails. Stain resistant is an awesome top coat to use on those clients. However, stain resistant is a hard gel. And when this is cured out, it becomes very firm and very almost rigid. So if you're working over just a natural nail gel manicure, this is not the top coat to use, okay? and I'm going to show you why. So if you're working over just a nice flexible, so I'm going to just kind of show you guys, this is just a plastic tip, nice and flexible. It's got a lot of give to it, kind of bendy a little bit without any product on there. Same tip here, you guys, it's the same thing. I'm not trying to trick you. But when I use stain resistant over that, we put our stain resistant top coat on here. We get a nice application, get all the way through the nail. Once we cure this, again, because this is a hard gel, once we cure it, it is going to get a little bit more rigid. I'm going to put this in the light for a full 60 seconds, and then I'm going to show you guys what can happen just over a regular gel manicure. Okay, so our stain resistant top coat is done curing. I'm going to use a little bit of swipe to cleanse off the tacky surface of it. Now you guys, we went from this nice flexible bendy plastic tip to something that is much more rigid. So if we were to bend that, do you see how easily that cracks? Okay, by having that stain resistant top coat on there, it's, like I said, it's more rigid and it's going to lose its flexibility. So if you're working over just a gel manicure, it's not the ideal top coat for you. Stain resistant top coat is ideal for over enhancements, whether it's acrylic or hard gels, or if you build up your fiber gel a little bit thicker, then you can maybe get away with using that over the fiber gel as well. But it does have to be used over an enhancement. It has to have some kind of structure underneath it for it to not crack like this. Now, if you do need a stain resistant top coat for your gel manicures, what I'm going to recommend for you instead is our Synergy Gloss. Now, Synergy is our hard gel line, but Gloss it's still a hard gel, but it's a little bit more flexible than the stain resistant. Now this comes in the little pot, it doesn't come in the brush, so you're going to have to use your gel brush, but it's super easy to apply. You're just going to apply in a nice thin even layer with your gel brush, get a good even coat. And if you need to make it a little bit thicker for a little bit more durability, you can also do that. But be careful because it is a self-leveling gel. It is a thinner gel, so it can move. So just make sure that you are keeping an eye on it as you're applying, not applying too thick, nice even coverage. And then that's going to go back into the light for a full 60-second cure as well. When it does come out, it is going to have that tacky surface, so you're going to need to use your swipe to cleanse it. But this is going to be a better option for you when you're working on those gel manicures and you need a stain-resistant top coat. Okay, so our nail is cured out here. Let's go ahead and grab some of that swipe, cleanse that tacky surface off, and now you guys can see that's got it's still got some durability to it, but it's got a lot more flex and it's not going to crack as easily as that stain resistant top coat did. Okay, so again, if you're looking for a stain resistant top coat for over your gel manicures, stick to your Synergy Gloss rather than the stain resistant top coat. Synergy Gloss is going to be a stain resistant and still maintain the flexibility. So hopefully you guys aren't having issues with your gel polishes or your gel top coat, but if you are, I'm hoping that some of these tricks that I showed you today are going to help solve those challenges.